So just a couple days ago, Mattel revealed the Masters of the Universe Origins Castle Grayskull playset. This is something I think a lot of people knew was likely coming. It's been rumored for a while. I was really surprised that they didn't announce this playset back at PowerCon when they announced all that other new stuff. But regardless, it has now been announced and I want to talk about it. All right, so first things first, this was announced a couple days ago. I wanted to do this video a lot sooner. I apologize if any of you are finding out for this for the first time because of this video. I assume probably not at this point. You've probably seen this all over social media. They put it up on Friday and it immediately went for pre-order on Walmart's website. Well, I guess not immediately. It actually took a couple hours for it to go up on pre-order because that's the way this stuff always happens. It surprisingly stayed up for pre-order pretty much all day on Friday. I was able to get my pre-order in for it through Walmart, but it did eventually sell out, just like we've seen with all the other pre-orders for basically everything recently. But it is worth noting that this is not set to be released until spring of 2021. So I'm thinking probably around February or March, we'll start seeing this thing showing up in stores. And at that point, Masters Origins is supposed to be at all retail stores, not just Walmart. So I don't think that they said that Castle Grayskull was Walmart exclusive. So hopefully this will be something that we'll be able to pick up anywhere, but time will tell on that. So let's talk about the actual castle itself, just from looking at the images that were revealed. Normally I like to wait until I have something in hand and do a proper review or what have you, but I don't know. This is a big deal, obviously, getting a new Castle Grayskull. So I just kind of want to talk about some of my observations just from looking at the images here. It's kind of cool. This is the fourth Castle Grayskull toy that we've received, if we're counting the original Castle Grayskull from the 80s toy line, the redesign in the 2002 toy line, which technically had two different variations, but the castle itself looked the same on the outside. And then there was the massive Masters of the Universe Classics Castle Grayskull, and now we have this new retail release. So this is the fourth Castle Grayskull playset we've received, but only the third time Castle Grayskull has been at retail stores. The first thing I want to talk about is the box art, because it is amazing. One of the things that Mattel is doing absolutely right with Origins is this gorgeous, gorgeous box art. And that's because they keep recruiting amazing fans to work on this artwork. So this box art here was a combined effort of Axel Jimenez and Nate Barch, both of who have done a ton of artwork for Masters of the Universe, going all the way back into classics. So they continued to deliver some amazing artwork. Also, the Sorceress cross-sell artwork was a combination of Axel and Francisco etch art. And then, of course, the entire thing was overlooked by the packaging designer at Mattel, Roy Juarez. So there were 4 people involved in the overall box art, and it's gorgeous. I mean, the scene is amazing. I love that kind of colorful space scene behind Castle Grayskull, and there's some really great stuff going on this box art. If you look at all the battles happening around there, it's really cool. I think my favorite thing on this entire piece of box art is Evelyn, raising skeleton warriors out of the ground to do battle. How amazing is that? Mattel, you better give me those figures. I need some glow-in-the-dark skeleton warriors now for Evelyn to raise from the dead. I think that is awesome. So, box art, top-notch stuff. I can totally see a lot of people wanting to either get this mint in box or keep the box. Look, Masters of the Universe has a long history of having amazing artwork on the packaging, specifically with the vintage toy line. So this is something that I love to see Mattel continue to do with the Origins line. Okay, so let's talk about the actual castle itself. The Mattel posted a few images of the castle. Some of them are pretty epic because there's this whole wide array of characters scattered around the castle. Now, all of the characters here we did already know about. I saw a lot of people surprised by seeing the Land Shark and She-Ra and Panther. All of those were revealed at PowerCon, so we did know those were coming. But, you know, it's good to put this out there because more people are finding out about it, I think, and that is definitely a good thing. This is our first real good look at that She-Ra, though, I think. You can see that she is going to be different than the PowerCon release because it looks like that retail release has got more yellow on her rather than gold. And I think the PowerCon version is going to have gold instead of yellow, which is much more like the vintage She-Ra action figure. But still, it looks like that's our first real good look at retail version of She-Ra on this particular cross-sell right here. So the castle itself, really cool stuff. So first of all, it includes a Sorceress action figure, but you might have noticed that she's an all-white Sorceress. In recent years, this has been known by the fans as Temple of Darkness Sorceress because there was one mini comic called The Temple of Darkness in the original toy line where she wore a white outfit like that. So that's basically what we've got going on here. I don't know why they chose to include this particular version of the Sorceress with the castle, except that they are probably planning to release the more normal orange and blue color palette version as a regular carded figure somewhere down the line. That's my guess. I assume that they included the Temple of Darkness version with this because the standard Sorceress is going to get a regular retail release at some point. Again, I don't know why they chose to do it that way, but it looks like that's what they're doing here. So I want to talk about the castle itself. I've seen a lot of people online speculate that Mattel is just re-releasing the vintage castle. That they've got those old molds laying around, so why wouldn't they just put them back into production? That is not what's going on here. This is a completely new sculpt on this castle. And I know it's real easy to look at this and from your memory go, oh, that's totally what I had as a kid. But it's not. So let's do a little bit of a side-by-side comparison time with the vintage castle standing alongside the new castle so you can see the differences between the two. You can see that the overall shape is very different. The vintage castle has a much more organic look to it. It's kind of got this sunken in look where the eyes are. It bulges out a little bit more around the jaw bridge. You can see the way the teeth come down is very, very different. The new castle is much more symmetrical than the standard look of the vintage castle. And if you want my nitpicky opinion, the vintage castle looks a lot better. But to be fair, the original Castle Grayskull is so perfect, in my opinion, it can never be outdone. It just can't. That's my opinion. I don't think the vintage castle could ever be outdone. But the thing I like more about the vintage castle is that more organic look. The castle looks more alive. This new castle just looks a little too perfect. It's a little more symmetrical. The eyes seem bigger and more sunken in. I don't know. It's also a much deeper green this time around than the vintage one. I saw a few people online say that they thought that the new castle looked happier and it didn't look as scary, and I think I can kind of see that. It looks a little friendlier. The original castle had like a scary look to it, and I think that's one of the things that made it really cool. Another big standout, the jawbridge door is brown. It's wood. This time around, wood colored. They did something similar to the Classics Castle Grayskull. I think I prefer the green door of the vintage. I know that they probably just molded that in green and didn't paint it on the vintage castle, but I don't know. It's like there's something so iconic about that jawbridge being green with the vintage castle. So it's always a little weird when I see the brown jawbridge, but that's not new. That's something Mattel's been doing since like the 2002 era. So I get it. I totally get it. The paint deco is really interesting. It looks like it might have like a glitter effect or maybe just like a white spray speckle. That's what I'm trying to say. You can really kind of see it there on the outside, but also if we flip to some of the inside images, you can see it on the inside as well, which is why it makes me think it's like a glitter worked into the mold because there's no paint on the inside at all, but you can see that white kind of speckle in there. So maybe it's a glitter. I don't know if that's what it is or not. I guess we'll be able to tell when we actually get it in hand. But if you look at the inside of the castle, you can see that this is made very similar to the vintage. It's a hollowed out shell on the inside. It folds open just like the vintage. It looks like it's constructed a little bit different. You'll notice we've got the little hooks off to the right and the pegs on the left there. So when you close it, you'll be able to use the little hooks to hold it shut. That's not something we saw on the vintage one. They actually had like these little clips that clipped in instead. Also, some of the inside details are different. We've got like this extra level above where Sorceress is standing, where you can see the flag is. We didn't have a top level on that side of the castle in the vintage. But a lot of things are very similar. We've got the elevator still. It looks like that the elevator doesn't go up quite as tall, but still functions the same. Looks like it has the gargoyle pull string. We've got the ladder. We've got the chair that looks like it turns. It looks like we've got the rug sticker that's going to drop open, so you can drop down. You can see the dungeon grate sticker on the bottom as well. We've got the exercise like training thing. They've got it up at the top of the castle up there. We've got the laser gun at the top. We've got the weapons rack. The weapons rack looks so small on this. I don't know if it's a weird perspective thing, but that thing looks tiny when you compare it to what the vintage weapons rack looked like. It also comes with a lot less weapons. We've only got 4 different weapons, it looks like, to go in this weapons rack. So it's much smaller, has a lot fewer weapons on there. One of the things that's really neat is some of the things that were just cardboard in the vintage Castle Grayskull are now fully sculpted plastic pieces, like the 2 like computer units you can see on the second level, like the big one there right behind Sorceress. I like that. I think that's really cool. However, one massive thing missing from this castle, where's our robot suit of armor? He's totally missing. Now, that was a piece of cardboard in the vintage. In Classics, they molded him out of plastic. That was really cool to see. I know a lot of people have always wanted to see that as an action figure, so maybe Mattel's going to release that as an action figure at some point that we can put inside of our Castle Grayskull. But since we don't know that for sure, I'm going to count that as something that is disappointingly missing from this castle right here. Now, look, I will fully admit I'm being nitpicky on some of this stuff. Some of these things I'm pointing out, you may not care about at all, and that is totally fine. So that, all in all, I do think this looks like a really fun toy. I'm happy to see a new Castle Grayskull. I'm happy to see a new Castle Grayskull going to retail stores. I'm hoping that this is something that, I keep saying this about Origins. I don't know if this is happening because I know that collectors are really scooping these up, but I do hope kids are getting a chance with these. I think this could be a fun playset if kids are into that sort of thing. But it's going to be neat to display this, of course, with our Origins figures as well. I'm anxious to get it in hand and really look at it side by side with the vintage Castle Grayskull. It's definitely going to compare to that one a lot more than Classics. The Classics Castle Grayskull was like massive and souped up and gave us lots of things that we wanted to see in a Castle Grayskull, but it was also like, what, $300, $350 when it was released on Matty Collector several years ago. The retail price on this Castle Grayskull is $74.99, so $75. So, there's a big price difference. We're also at a point where things just keep getting more and more expensive. But like for comparison, Snake Mountain, which is getting ready to come out from Super 7, which is for the Classics line, so it's the big collector one, that was like a $500 toy. Will they do a Snake Mountain in Origins? I think it's possible. I think if this line keeps doing well enough and that they're going as all in as Mattel seems to say that they're going, I think it's very possible we'll see a Snake Mountain in the following year. I imagine it'll be done similar to this, scaled down, similar to the vintage one, clamshell type deal. But yeah, I think it's very possible we'll see a Snake Mountain as well. Like Mattel keeps telling us, 2021 is supposed to be a wide release for this line. All of these figures are supposed to be available at all retail stores, including online stores. So hopefully that will make this easier to get and then more people will be able to scoop these up, and then they'll feel more willing to spend $75 on larger playsets like this. So I guess that's another thing. Like, is this something that you want to pick up? Is this something that you don't want to pick up because it's been hard to find the other figures? Are you content with your Classics Castle Grayskull that you already have? Would you rather just buy the vintage one to display with your Origins figures? I think it's going to be a bit of a mixed bag from a lot of collectors out there. So, feel free, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think of the new Origins Castle Grayskull. If pre-orders go back live, I'll make sure I share that on social media like I did when this one went up. But otherwise, these are supposed to be hitting retail stores next year in springtime. So we won't be actually seeing them in hand until 2021. Thanks for watching this video. I I hope this helped you guys, or maybe I just rambled and said a bunch of things you don't care about. I don't know, but regardless, thanks for watching, and until next time, my friends.